TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Now you went to Florida in '81, I believe, too, and you worked.
Actually, when you ask me all these questions, I can't believe I've forgotten so much. I don't even remember this stuff. I worked with that guy. I don't know. See, I swear to God, I've had like 6,000 matches.
Right.
I tell you, I have no life. I sit around one day. I said, "How many matches have I had?" I said, "Oh, 6,000." You know, I'm saying, how many bumps have I taken? Oh, wait a minute. If I hit 6,000 matches, God, if I just took like 3, that's 18,000. You know, I think I'm taking like 100,000 bumps. I said, hell, no wonder I can't walk.
Now you were down in Florida, I believe, in '81, also, right, with Kevin Sullivan. You had a little run with him.
Not in Florida.
No,
I had a run with him in Memphis in '81.
Okay,
that's where it was. Not in Florida.
You know, actually, you're right. And there was a Florida question thrown in there, so I got the dates wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What was Kevin Sullivan like?
I've known Kevin a long time. I knew Kevin. Kevin was the first guy I ever met before I got in business.
Right.
He was working some independent. I worked a little independent show, and he ended up coming to South Carolina, and that's where I met him there. And then later on, you know, then he went to Georgia, and then he started in the business. And he was the first guy I met. I always liked Kevin, you know.
Now, how did you wind up in Florida in '84?
They were looking for Dusty had just left.
Right.
Dusty had left, and he went to NWA Charlotte for Crockett, and they were looking for a booker, and Dory Funk was down there. And Jerry Jarrett had talked to Bill Watts, who had talked to Eddie Graham. My name came up, and they told me to call Eddie. I called Eddie. He said, "Hey, why don't you fly down here? I'll interview you." I flew down there. He interviewed me. He hired me. So I started like the next week or two.
Who were some of the guys that worked down there at the same time?
When I went down there with Funk?
Yeah, was it Graham or guys?
No, he wasn't there. Well, what Dusty did, he took Magnum TA. He took him to Charlotte.
Right.
He took, I think Koloff was there. I don't know if he was there. He gutted the territory is what he did. He took all the top guys. He took them to Charlotte with him. So when I got down there, I inherited what Dusty didn't want. So I was there for a while. Then I told you the story about Dory Funk leaving.
Right.
So I'm sitting there by myself. So I said, what the hell am I going to do? So I had these dates on Flair, so we did some stuff with that. And I remember we went to Sarasota. And how we drew this house, I swear to God, I have no goddamn idea. But what I did on all our tapes out in Florida, like in Miami, fantastic, spectacular show coming up, be there in Sarasota.
Right.
I run it on all the promos, statewide. Hell, we just sold the place out. You know, it was me and Flair and the Russians versus the Freebirds. Actually, it was a pretty good card. And it was just jammed out. I couldn't believe it. And that was the same week Eddie Graham killed himself. And I remember sitting in the office. It was a Wednesday, I think, and Dusty had come back for the funeral. I don't know when the funeral was, but he killed himself it was Super Bowl Sunday too.
What kind of problems did he have that would lead him? Do you want to talk about that, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, well, we'll get back to it in a minute.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you a little statement Dusty told me one time. Because Dusty just had left. Here was this new booker. Dory Funk was there, which you knew. He didn't know me. And we sold out Sarasota. He couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, you know. And I've told Dusty this to his face, you know. I never told him I think it pissed him off, but I think it did. Like, who in the hell was Dutch Mantell? And Michael Hayes was helping him. Michael Hayes to come in and sell out an arena in Florida like in his backyard. So he was sitting there like this, and Dusty's, so it was my chair, but he was sitting in it because he figured that was his chair, right?
Right.
That was his desk. That's the goddamn place he pioneered. I'm sitting over there in the jackleg seat. He looked at me and said, "Dutch Mantell." He said, "Let me tell you, baby." He said, it was $20,000. $20,000 house. He said, $20,000 house in Sarasota, Robards Arena, baby, shit. That's a hell of a house, baby, without the dream. Oh, with the dream, that's a hell of a house, baby. He said, "Let me tell you, Dutch man." He says, "It's not the records." He said, "The record, 21,000 something." He said, "The American Dream, that's the road. Next board, Ric Flair, Robards Arena." And he gave me some date. Hell, he didn't even look the date up. See, it pissed him off, but he wanted me to know that even though I drew a hell of a house, it wasn't the record. And I talked to, John Heath, Coach John Heath. He ran the building now. He promoted the town or whatever. He told me, actually, Dusty did have the money record. But I had more people because Dusty raised his prices. Hell, I'm so stupid. I didn't know I had the power to do that. I said, hell, I can't set prices. I don't know. But getting back to Eddie, why Eddie did what he did, that's a funny story. I never understood it. See, Eddie, when I went down there, everybody used to say Eddie Graham had such a tremendous mind. He did. But we get back to the point of demons now. He didn't do drugs. But Eddie was a highly respected man in the state of Florida. highly respected, and politically connected too.
Right.
Because he ran that Florida Boys and Girls Ranch, and he helped them a lot. And that got him a lot of positive publicity in the state of Florida. And I think what had happened to Eddie, and even, let me get back to this, when I was in the office and I was having a problem, Eddie was never, he might come in for 10 minutes and he's gone. I remember one night we wrestled, we was even out of the Armory, the old Homer Hesterly Armory. We were out of there, and they put us in, we was in the university, but nobody came there. Just didn't have a good wrestling atmosphere. You know, it was just something, I don't know, I just felt out of place.
Right.
And so I never really saw Eddie. Eddie would talk to me, but he would never talk about business. He was like, how you doing or whatever. And for a minute, he was up and gone. What I think had happened, they had bought some land, him and this other guy, and somehow it was being maybe considered a fraudulent land deal. Or somebody was going to get in trouble about this deal. And the guy was named Buster is all I know. I remembered his name then. I don't remember it now. And Eddie thought that it was all going to collapse on him. And Eddie at that time, I think, used to own, say, most of it. He had sold it off piecemeal, bit by bit by bit. I think when he killed himself, he was maybe down to owning maybe 5% of the company, you know. And so on Super Bowl Sunday, a lot of people don't know this, but, you know, he shot himself in the mouth. Did you know he shot himself twice?
I didn't know twice.
Shot himself twice. The first time, this is what I heard. The bullet, you know, when he went to do it, you know, I guess he was bound and determined to kill himself. And to shoot yourself twice, he had a lot of guts.
Right.
He had a lot of guts, you know, to miss the first time and then say, hell, he blew out like a side of his face.
Huh.
And then shot again. He shot himself twice. And it's a very sad day. Very sad day.
TitleMatchNetwork.com